Meeting Monday, July 14th to order. Trustee Rodriguez,
Yep.
Can you take the roll?
Absolutely. All right, Trustee Rodriguez is present. Trustee Williams?
Present.
Trustee Williamson?
Present.
Trustee Davis? Trustee Kilpatrick?
Present.
Trustee Melton?
Present.
Trustee Moreno?
Here.
VP Wade?
Present.
President Davis?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First up on our agenda tonight is in celebrations. Dr. Roby?
Good evening, everyone. And so we are excited to celebrate our young people. I'm going to invite Mr. Beresford to have the speech and debate team and the work that they've done with nationals come forward.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Davis, and Board of Education. I am so honored to bring this celebration tonight of our GRPS speech and debate team. It is an incredible program that I've often thought about deserves a celebration. And when Ms. Anderson said, hey, the agenda is open in the summer, I said, perfect, because they'll have competed the whole year. And so it's an exciting night. I'd like to first introduce the incredible volunteer leader of speech and debate in GRPS with over 26 years of volunteer efforts. That deserves like a volunteer award for Mr. Harris here. He picked up the baton from a different leader of the team, and he just grew it and made it his own. And when I talk about just 1 year of volunteering, that's over 20 weekends of competing on a Saturday or a Sunday possibly. And so incredible service to our GRPS scholars, so appreciated. And I will pass it to him, and then really you're gonna hear the majority of the celebration from our scholars. So, Mr. Harris.
Well, thank you. Wow. First, I think the first thing is you should see the people stand. We got people standing up there, but we have team members here, and I'm going to ask them just to simply stand so that you can see some of who came with us here. Stand up. If you're on the team, you got to stand up. Thank you. What do we say? Somebody asked me, well, is this the team? And the honest answer is no, it's not the team. We have, this past year, over 60 students participate at the middle school and high school level. We had similar numbers the previous year. This has been an incredible year again. There are lots of accomplishments that we could go over of just winning things. Everything from Mr. Shukla right here next to me. I don't know if he's going to mention it, but he was third in the country in middle school extemp. I just want to put that out. There have been awards at Krishna as the first in the state in extemp here in Michigan. He's going to speak later on. We just have all kinds of accomplishments, and we have awards at debate where we were first in middle school. We were semifinalists in the novice and finalists in the varsity debate. These are all some of the accomplishments that happened, but they're built on, well, we could keep going and talking about that, but I don't want to talk about that way. When I was thinking about coming here, I want to underscore that the value of speech and debate is not measured in gilt plastic, even though we have a room full of gilt plastic. what happens in speech is that we give students a chance to learn a bit more about who they are. And who they are as a speaker, who they are to understand that they have a voice. And in this world where we mediate so much through screens, where the algorithm wants to tell us to do this or to do that, to be able to own our own self, to have the tools that teach us, here's how we do that. And in speech and debate, the way that we do this is by doing an activity repeatedly, getting feedback from it, and from that feedback, incorporating it into our lives. And doing that, we learn a bit more about ourselves. We learn about how we can move into the world and how we can change things. And like I say, we've done this year because of foundation funding for our program. But we don't have to we don't have to cover our registration costs. We can go to more events. When we go to more events, we need more parent involvement. We couldn't do this without parents at all. We had 29 parents step up and be a judge at one point. Again, remember, we have 60 kids participating. This means parents are stepping up and taking part alongside their scholar. But this program could not be anything else but for the work of one other person, and we need to have her stand up. Where Margie, wave your hand. I'm a flighty person, and to have somebody who is disciplined and does all the backroom organizing is a gift too for the program. So anyway, the students are going to talk, and they're going to be much more spectacular than I am. And with that, I just think this is Ian Shukla. He is a rising 9th grader, and he has some nice words to say. Sir, there you are.
All right, all of you are probably looking at me right now and thinking, wow, what a dedicated scholar, speech and debate competitor, 3rd in the country, wow. But maybe you're imagining me joyfully researching at midnight or passionately making cases on the weekend. The reality, I had to be dragged, like metaphorical heels, digging through the carpet to my very first debate meeting. But the thing is, speech and debate didn't just help me build skills, it built me. From writing cases with my amazing partner Varun, to surviving early mornings at nationals powered by only coffee and prayers, somewhere along the timeline, I discovered the transformative power of words. Words that inform, challenge, inspire, and sometimes even win trophies. Often dismissed as just an extracurricular, speech and debate drives student success. In fact, research has shown that participants consistently outperform in critical thinking, research, and literacy, skills that not only boost academic performance and college readiness, but also prepares for a lifetime of civic engagement. But here's what this program means for me, outside of simple classroom advantages. It gave me the opportunity to utilize words to envision and form a clear future that I want to be a part of, drive impactful change and form meaningful connections, and cultivate the ability to be able to participate meaningfully and constructively in a society that often resists the very discourse necessary for its growth. But more than anything, it connected me to a community that celebrates diverse voices. Everyone finds a place, whether they're delivering dramatic prose or doing impromptu practice about the optimal price of potatoes. We don't just compete, we grow together. Thank you for your time and for considering what this program can continue to do with your support. We don't just raise our voices, we raise each other.
And now we're going to give up our seats for 3 more scholars as we finish, and they'll handle the Q&A with the board, no problem.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Krishna Mano, and I'm a rising senior this year at City High School, and I'm so honored to have this opportunity to be speaking to all of you today. I've competed in speech and debate events since I was in 7th grade, led by the unwavering dedication and compelling commitment of our speech and debate coach, Mr. William Harris, alongside parent volunteers. I've been the 2-time state champion in extemporaneous speaking under his leadership and in the top 20 nationwide for debate. And when I joined GRPS for middle school in 2020, our speech and debate team had just about a dozen students. 5 years later, we saw a team of 60 students, including 14 who qualified to the national tournament in Des Moines, Iowa last month. And as we continue this expansion, not just at City, but across the entire school district as well, we deeply rely on your support as our administrators in order to ensure that we can continue growing this and making this available for all students. The testimonies you're about to hear are only a few of the many stories that show the impact of speech and debate on the trajectories of students' lives.
My name is Colette Crowley, and I'm a rising sophomore in GRPS. In preschool, my parents were told that I needed to learn when not to talk. It shouldn't have been a surprise because girls like me are often told that we talk too much. Like many kids, I learned to quiet myself in middle school so I wouldn't stand out. I stopped asking questions in class, and I stopped talking to new people. I stayed silent until I found speech and debate. Speech and debate has given me the courage to speak up in my classes and in rooms like this. This is what programs like ours in districts like GRPS do. The Chicago Debate League found that among high-risk urban students, 72% of debaters graduated high school, as compared to 43% of non-debaters. Speech and debate changes students' lives. It teaches kids like me that we can ask questions and we can speak our minds. Because no matter what people say, we never talk too much.
Hello everyone, my name is Amaya Kantz and I go to City High Middle School. When I was given the opportunity to come up in front of all of you and give this speech, I didn't really know how to put my perspectives and experiences into words. But I digress. I knew why I needed to speak to everyone on this topic. I came to GRPS in my freshman year and joined City in my sophomore year. My sophomore year was the hardest year of my life, both academically and mentally. This is something I find rather difficult to talk about because of how personal it is to me. During this year of my life, I was diagnosed with severe mental health disorder and I was struggling in many ways. While we knew I had this problem for a while, this was the year it truly started to be a problem. I was missing tons of school, failing my classes, and ended up having to get some additional help mentally. However, the thing that kept me going the most was speech and debate, and especially Mr. Harris. Towards the end of that year, I was able to get myself together and try to solve what had happened. I had to decide if I stayed at City or if I left, because I knew my journey wasn't going to get much easier, and I had to decide if this was the moment I pushed through it or moved on from it. As you can see, I stayed, and this is because of this club, which might not always seem very impactful to outsiders, but is so important to the students who participate. I knew I wouldn't be given the same opportunity outside of GRPS. And now, this year, my partner Anish and I both placed second in the state in debate, and I was fifth in speaker awards. Without funding, the burden of the cost would rely on the students and their families. However, students like me, who wouldn't have been able to go to nationals without the scholarship GRPS gave me and all of the fundraising I did all by myself, might be overlooked or disadvantaged. I have the same passion and drive as everyone else on my team, and I want to be given the same opportunities as everyone else too. So GRPS, when you consider if you'll be giving your speech and debate team funding, I hope you remember students like me. Thank you.
So at the end of the day, speech and debate isn't just an extracurricular activity or something for us to put on our resumes. It's how students navigate through our school years and even afterwards to express ourselves, to discover our passions, and most importantly, to find our community. As is clear from today, for many students, this activity is what makes GRPS their choice. To keep that momentum going and to bring that opportunity to as many students as we can, our team is asking you for $14,000 for next school year to fund our tournament costs, the same tournaments that set our students up for success. At the end of the day, this initial investment wouldn't just benefit the students. The moment they find their true calling alongside an effective way to communicate it, the returns they bring to the entire community will be immeasurable. Thanks to your help and support, my teammates and I already feel empowered to use our voice for good. Let's make this a reality for as many students as we can across the district. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you to all of you for preparing such wonderful speeches. It's so good to hear from our students, and you're all so articulate, much more articulate than myself, so maybe I should join speech and debate. Are there any questions, board members? Yeah.
Okay, first of all, thank you for gracing us with your presence. I am just so impressed. And actually, I just want to say, now that I just noticed, one of my former teachers is actually back there in the audience. She now works for GRPS, and it is up to us. And and she actually encouraged me to take on more and be on myself, as Mr. Harris said. So I just want to continue to instill that in our youth, because you are our future, and I am just so impressed. Y'all are coming in looking sharp. Your speech skills are amazing, because it's not easy to come and speak in front of a board, right? It's not easy to speak in front of anybody. But you all did an amazing job, and I'm just really proud of you, and please keep it up, because you're our future and the future looks bright. So thank you.
I just also want to add, and all of you said it very well along with Mr. Harris, that it's congratulations on all the awards. That is incredible. Each of you, you've worked hard and you deserve it, but the deeper value that I think you all recognize you've gotten in just finding that self-confidence and what you have within yourself to be discerning and confident and speak so well. You're going to carry that with you. I was telling you guys before, I was in another extracurricular, and we were always jealous of the speech kids because you guys always looked like you're having more fun. But just you're going to carry this with you the rest of your life, and whatever we can do as a district to make sure all our students have that, it's really incumbent on us. And it's speech, it's all different types of extracurriculars. So congratulations, guys, and just congratulations. You're doing great.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our public comment for board agenda items only. We will be reducing the time to 2 minutes based on the number of public comment cards we have tonight. Trustee Rodriguez, can you read us into public comment?
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I'm just gonna. All right, folks, we're gonna continue on. Thank you. So this is our first public comment section. The first one is public comment on board agenda items only. Agendas are located by the comment cards. Individuals must completely fill out the front of the card and indicate the specific business on which they wish to comment. Please submit the completed card in the bin on the table at either entryway of the board chambers. Our board assistant will collect the card submitted. We ask the speakers refrain from making abusive statements against our board members, employees, volunteers, or contractors. Speakers are encouraged to present complaints about a specific board member, employee, volunteer, or contractor through the appropriate process established under Board Policy 9450 before requesting the board's consideration. Individuals will be invited one at a time to the podium to address the board. Before beginning your comment, please state your full name. At that time, we will start the timer located right behind VP Wade, allowing each individual 2 minutes to make their comment tonight. You'll need to complete your comment time upon being notified that the 2 minutes have passed. Board members, do not respond to public comment. Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing with us tonight.
First up, we have Sherry Krogman, followed by Lisa Lint Vander Zouwen.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Sherry Krogman. I'm speech language pathologist at Congress Elementary and Ottawa Hills High School. I have been in Grand Rapids Public Schools for going on my 4th year and 29 years in the profession. Things I love about Grand Rapids Public School, Ottawa Hills High School, and the leadership team, the amazing scholars, the new energy there, and we have figured out how to meet student needs with lots of supports and services, and you can feel, hear, and see the difference. I love the students and families I serve. My job gets hugs from lots of littles, and what's up, Miss K, from the not so littles. My license as an SLP, though, demands that first and foremost, I advocate for my students. I know as an SLP that our words matter, and I was told as a kid that I talk too much on my report cards, but our voices matter around our collective table we call school community. I enjoy this role here at GRPS and a union contract that supports my unique needs as an SLP. What I'm not in love right now with at GRPS is our significant special ed shortage of staff. And this is harming children. It presents lots of legal challenges and stretches services and service providers in unhealthy ways. It's presenting with emotionally unkind environment for your staff and creates further reduction then in staff, and then we're stuck in a vicious cycle. And I see I have 5 seconds left, so I'll leave it with that.
Lisa Lint Vander Zouwen, followed by Kim Barron.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Lint Vander Zouwen. I'm the parent of 2 C.A. Frost Middle High students. On May 31st, we received communication that our principal was leaving GRPS for other opportunities. 39 days later, on July 8th, Frost Middle High families received an email with an attached survey requesting feedback on what we would like to see in a principal. The survey closes July 18. The first day of school is August 18. As much as I appreciate the opportunity to give my feedback and thoughts on who I would like to see in the principal role, I'm very concerned with this time frame. We have orientations and open houses scheduled for the first week of August, starting August 4th. Pending a miracle, I don't see how we could possibly have a principal hired and working by that date. Why did the search for a new principal not begin the moment Mr. Lundvik resigned? In addition to losing the principal, we lost a skilled and valued teacher to another district in Kent County. They are not only getting a significant pay raise, but they also now have the stability they didn't feel they had at GRPS. This is just another testament to how GRPS is letting everyone down, and our teachers, students, and families are the ones feeling the pain. We need to do better, and our community deserves better.
Kim Barron, followed by Jane Neiman.
Hi, my name is Kim Barron. I'm a concerned GRPS parent, community member, and former employee. I see the layoff resolution on the agenda this evening, and the timing of this recent layoff is confusing to me. Districts begin budget discussions in the winter, and planning for staff and department budgets happens throughout the spring. Why are these staff members being laid off in July? This demonstrates continued reactive decision-making as opposed to strategic and thoughtful leadership. While this won't seem as eloquent, I want to get in this next part under the 2 minutes. So, over the last several months, I've been having a lot of conversations with folks who've reached out who have left the district in the recent months. And I just want to offer some quotes from these conversations because they don't feel comfortable speaking their own truth. So here's a few quotes. from people who have recently left. Dr. Roby told me that she should have warned me in this position that I would have to get used to being slapped around by my colleagues for a while, so get used to it. I had an attorney look at my information, and in their opinion, I absolutely have a winnable case against the district for harassment and the creation of a hostile work environment, but I would like to continue working in education, so I don't intend to file suit. I spent so much time in therapy since I left the district. I'm such a stronger person now that I have some distance. I want to speak up and tell my story, but I'm still too afraid to undo the progress I've made with my mental health. I'm so glad to have left the toxic culture of fear that exists in the leadership of GRPS. Sadly, Dr. Roby supports it because she doesn't do anything to eliminate it. Another one, I really want to share publicly the reasons I had to leave my position after so many years, but my priority has to be my family right now. I'm too afraid that Dr. Roby and her team will try to sabotage my ability to get another job in education like they did with one of my former colleagues. Everything I do that puts students first is met with barriers. I cannot get anything done because GRPS leadership puts unnecessary roadblocks in front of everything that is good. I hate having to be the face of GRPS in the community. I'm so tired of making excuses for the district. It's embarrassing.
That's time.
It goes on.
Jane Neiman, followed by Sarah Martinez.
I'm next, right? Okay. Good evening, Dr. Roby, Board President, trustees. I'm Jane Neiman, Vice President of the Grand Rapids Educational Association. I wanted to speak tonight a little concerned about the resolution about laying off 2 GREA members, obviously. And I do second the concerns about our reactiveness instead of being proactive. We all know that change is needed. We all know that there are issues not only with the treatment of staff, but with the pay that they receive. And so I am strongly advocating that you take a close look at a salary proposal that was presented a month ago, that you consider the fact that we are working on an expired contract in our bargaining unit, and that people are leaving. We had a young man in our building who left the district for a $9,500 raise, and that was without them giving him any of his years of experience. If they had granted him his 2 years, he would have been making $11,000 more. They specifically chose him over 49 other candidates because of his experience that he gathered here at GRPS teaching English language learners. We have got to stop the churn and the loss of these wonderful, bright, caring educators that really invest in our kids. And they have no choice but to go elsewhere because, I mean, $10,000. We all know what inflation has done to budgets. We all know that young people have debt, that they have bills to pay, and they don't want to leave. They really don't. I had a long conversation with this young man. He wanted to stay at GRPS, but he couldn't. He couldn't continue to work here, knowing that he wouldn't receive a raise for another year. The 3-year salary schedule that we have that doesn't allow for raises in 3 years, it's got to end. So I encourage you strongly to support our new proposal. Thank you.
Sarah Martinez, followed by Donna Kelly DeBoer.
Sorry, my shoe broke a little earlier today. All right. My name is Sarah Martinez. I'm a parent at Wellerwood and a community member. I started going to these board meetings because I was worried about my neighborhood school being closed, and I still am, and we still don't have answers on that either. I saw a bunch of you guys at the No Kings rally, and a whole bunch of signs that say, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Well, isn't that the truth at GRPS? If you're not an angry community member, you're not paying attention. I cannot believe this. A child was shot, and no changes in staff. A year ago, there was an auditorium full of people demanding changes in administration. Nothing happened. Emails between administrators were released, and the community got a glimpse of the toxic environment we've been hearing about for years. And nothing's happened. I have no personal connection, no vendetta against these administrators. I just see the merit, and their merit sucks. Tonight, just before the meeting, I found out the administrators gave themselves a raise. You gave yourselves a raise, Roby, and you can't pay your teachers? Are you kidding me? You think new buildings are going to reimagine GRPS? No. We need a new administration, we need new backing, and we need our new board members that want to make change. I want you to be bold and make change. You board members that don't want to make change, that want us to see the forest through the trees. While we're seeing the forest, it's on freaking fire. I will leave you with this. Do better, be better. The community deserves better.
Donna Kelly DeBoer, followed by Ismailis Nunez.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. As a longtime GRPS teacher, I'd like to speak on my ideas on how I would like to see GRPS reimagined. I imagine GRPS as a place where we become more transparent, as a place where when cabinet members are given raises of 8.5% and even a couple of cabinet members receive 13.5% raises, that the rest of the staff that cleans our buildings, handles human resources, and teaches our children are given an equal percentage in raises. I imagine a place where every employee has oversight. I imagine a place where teachers, staff members, and other students are protected from students who threaten, kick, hit, and assault them. I imagine a place where a higher percentage of our overall budget is spent on instruction, and we are not shamed in the Grand Rapids press by having a lower percentage than so many other districts. It's embarrassing. I imagine a place where feedback is welcomed instead of being looked at as being disgruntled employee for bringing up issues. I imagine a district where STEM teachers, additional PE time, and place-based education provide extra planning time for elementary students that is equable to what the secondary teachers are getting. I imagine a time when a teacher can actually get a restroom break before lunch. I imagine a district where there is more than 3 weeks between winter and fall testing sessions. I imagine a district where we make increasing school attendance a priority. I imagine a district where we are going to have training for gen ed teachers and support for our many SPED students that are now in general ed classrooms. I imagine a district where we have a plan and support when students elope from general ed classrooms and those teachers cannot leave the other 25 students unattended.
That's time.
I imagine a district where administrators have their offices in our schools.
That's time. Time's up. Ismailis Nunez, followed by Laurel Aparicio Farina.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Roby, and Grand Rapids Public School leadership. My name is Ismailis Nunez, and I'm here tonight as a concerned community member and a proud alum of Grand Rapids Public School. And here we are, just over a year after many of us came to this board calling for transparency, equity, and leadership that truly centers students and families. And yet tonight, we're still asking some of the same questions. We're still fighting for basic accountability. What's deeply concerning right now is the layoff of Grand Rapids Public Schools' only bilingual communications coordinator, a role that meant far more than just translating messages. This person was a trusted bridge between the district and hundreds of Spanish-speaking families. They were the human face of communication, someone who showed up in community, answered calls, helped families feel seen and included. Let me remind you, in March 2024, over 24 local organizations sent you all a public letter urging GRPS to prioritize human-centered communication, especially for Spanish-speaking families. They raised real concerns about the growing use of AI and said plainly, technology cannot replace people. It can't build trust. It can't build relationships. And yet, not long after that letter, the one person responsible for building that trust has been laid off. Listen, what I know to be true is that this is not right. And I say that as someone who came up through this district. I know what it feels like when your family isn't informed or included. And I also know how powerful it is when someone helps make the system feel accessible and welcoming. So I have to ask, you eliminated 20 other 4 positions. If cutting the only bilingual communications coordinator was on the table, how were the rest of your layoffs decided? How many of those 24 positions cut people were working directly with or in support of teachers, students, and families? Thank you.
Laurel Aparicio Farina, followed by Ben Irwin.
Hello, my name is Laurel Aparicio Farina, and I am here to speak on behalf of some of the statistics that have been brought up in previous comments. I will be speaking with verbatim a post that was made on by Kimberly Morgan Barron. She says, I recently received an FOIA request that revealed salary increases for GRPS executives and the community should be aware of as budget amendments are being considered. 25 GRPS employees were laid off this month, and GREA negotiations are ongoing, and the district is offering a 1.5% increase to the lowest paid teachers in Kent County. In the comments are the salaries for executives for the school year of 23, 24, 25. It is worth noting that from the 23, 24, 25 school year, Dr. Roby gave herself an 8.5% raise, and she awarded Cribbs and Mitchell each a 13.7% raise. This is in addition to bonuses received and very generous tax-deferred annuity. In the comments of those salaries, there are also comments in the last page of the executive exempt salary schedule for 24-25. You will see the grade 116 is where Mitchell, Cribbs, and Johnson job titles are listed. Moving across, you will note that each level equals 3 years of experience. So an exempt employee with no experience would be at level 1 for years experience, 1 through 3, then move on to level 2 for years experience, 4 through 6, and so on. When I compare the salaries of Mitchell, Cribbs, and Johnson, they are graduating multiple levels each year of employment. For example, Mitchell has paid at level 3 rate in 2023, level 4 in 2024, and jumped to level 9 in 2025. Cribbs followed a similar path to level 9. Johnson moved up one level each year, moving from year 8 to level 10 in just 3 years. I'm curious why these executives are acquiring 15 to 21 years of experience in just 1 year. We have to do better.
Ben Irwin, followed by Gabriel Jocelyn.
My name is Ben Irwin. I'm a GRPS parent of 5 kids. Last month, when approving the budget by the narrowest of margins, a number of you expressed frustration both with where we are and a desire to do better. I have some thoughts on where we can do better, especially when it comes to teacher pay. According to data from the Michigan Department of Education, GRPS has the highest spending on administrative salaries and expenses in the county by far. 46% higher than the county average, and that was before you evidently gave yourselves a nice fat raise. We had the highest spend on buildings and maintenance by far, which is not surprising since we operate more than 3 times the number of buildings as the next largest districts, Kentwood and Forest Hills. You might say, well, all the other districts in the county are smaller. Yeah, but if every district in Kent County were as big as GRPS, but maintained the same ratio of buildings to students as they have now, we would still have more buildings than all but one school in the district. Is it any wonder you can't manage to keep our schools in good repair or provide adequate busing? So You spend the most on the building yourselves and the most on buildings and maintenance. What you're not spending the most on are our teachers. GRPS ranks 22, dead last in the county on teacher pay. Every other district in this county pays an average teacher salary of $71,000. You pay our teachers $10,000 less per year on average in one of the highest cost of living parts of the county. This is fiduciary mismanagement. You want to fix the budget? Right size our administrative and operations spending and invest more in our teachers. Thank you.
Gabrielle Jostling, followed by Marta Johnson. Gabrielle Jostling is first, yep.
Hello. I came in today request upon some staff from Sibley Elementary. I am a parent. I have just one child. He's actually here with us because we don't have care for him. He's my 7-year-old, the love of our lives. He is autistic, and we found this out, thankfully, through Sibley Elementary being so supportive. His first 6 months of school was rough. It was so bad that there was a point where we thought maybe public schooling wasn't going to be for Apollo. With working with Miss Maher at Sibley Elementary, we were actually able to get the care that we needed within 6 months of him being in kindergarten, which turned his first year of school from a living hell to one of the best years of his life. Thank God for them. I honestly am hearing a lot tonight that's very new to me. That being said, I'm afraid that I feel that a big reason that Ms. Maher is leaving Sibley Elementary is due to pay. And I just would love for her to be paid more, you know? Like, I would love for her to stay at Sibley. She's been a saint in our lives. It was really emotional for everybody when we found out she was leaving. And I don't blame her. I don't blame anybody for searching for better opportunities for their families and their futures. But it would mean a lot to me and a lot of other parents if the people who mattered stay in the school with us. I don't have a whole lot else to say, to be honest. I just came in as a supportive parent because it means a lot to me. I think that the reason we had a discussion about me being here today is because there's so much that my family's been through and so much that Ms. Maher and the team has helped us through. My son wakes up every day excited to go to school. His first 6 months, he had meltdowns every night and every morning. It would just mean a lot to have the staff that we've grown to love and feel so comfortable with our son to still be in our school today. So thank you.
Marta Johnson, followed by Deshandra. Did I say Deshandra right? Okay.
Thank you so much. My name is Marta. I'm a parent of 2 students at GRPS. I have been active and engaged in our district as a parent advocate even before my kids attended the school. It has been obvious to me for a long time in talking to educators, various support staff, different leaders, other parents and students, that we have a crisis that seems to continue to not be addressed. One is obviously pay, and you've been hearing a lot about that. The reason that I'm talking about this, just to make sure it's not an agenda item, is because you're being asked to pass a resolution to increase either powers or some sort of support for more layoffs. And I guess as a parent who's been looking at transfer of, I don't know, it was about $16, $17 million from revenue that should have been spent on instruction, instead going to capital projects. And that's happened these last 2 budget cycles. I don't know if it was this one quite, but the last 2. That's about what we could be using to address and make pay competitive for our educators. And so I guess what I need the board to really be focusing in on is how do we, as more information is coming to light on how different salaries are being prioritized, and how different investments are being made. How is that centering students? How is that making sure that all of our students are really getting the education, the support, and the staffing that they really need? How are you making sure that you're holding the reimagine questions and the reimagine commitments, holding those and moving those forward? And how are we making sure that we can address this ongoing crisis with keeping our teachers and our educators that we've worked so hard to recruit in? Please focus on that and not increasing layoffs is basically what I have to say. Thanks.
Cassandra Thomas, followed by Salen Turin.
Hi, my name is Deshandra Thomas, and I have an 11-year-old GRPS student, and I have a 9-year-old student. And so I'm saying hi to all the board and everybody else that's in the building, that's advocating for our teachers, for our administrators. My son goes to Sibley Elementary, and honestly, I knew I was coming to support. I didn't know I was going to speak, but after I found out why I'm here, I had no other choice but to speak, because when they come to Ms. Mahart and the staff, they are not just principals, they are not just administrators. There was my son, Destiny Helper, okay? My son is a special needs student, okay? But you wouldn't know it, because after they work with him, everybody know him and they could talk to him. He understands, he speaks, he feels, and these were things that he didn't do before he got to Sibley Elementary. Ms. Mahar and her staff has been beyond amazing, and I just had to show up. Even after work, after doing a million things today, I stumbled in here. Literally, I fell in the parking lot. I stumbled in here because I needed to show you guys this. Last year, my little boy almost died. And when you're talking about Destiny Helpers, this is Destiny Helpers. That was his teacher, that was Miss Melissa. They showed up at the hospital. The whole staff showed up for us. They did not hesitate to help me in anything I needed to do. And so, they called, they checked on us, they made them cards. These are teachers with a kid who almost was on life support. Okay, so whatever I needed to do, I had to be here tonight, because I don't call them, and I tell them this all the time, I don't call them just his teacher. Again, I can't stress it enough. They are destiny help. They're helping these children get to the places where they need to be. Before my son, we live on the other side of town, okay? And if he don't catch the bus, I would have rode a bike to get him there. That's how important they are, okay? So, yeah, if you could, we need to keep her. She got to stay. She got to stay.
Salen Turin, followed by Dee Jones.
Good evening, Salen Turin, GRPS teacher. A couple things I wanted to address tonight. The first being the purchasing agenda and the GREA layoff resolution under action items. It's honestly insulting that the district is asking for the board to approve 10.1 purchasing agenda, while then following that up with 10.2 GREA layoff resolution. Asking to pay for a company outside of GRPS, one of which that has a former executive director, Mr. Hemholt, as their CEO and president. The price of what the district is asking to pay this outside company is equating to nearly 2 GREA staff members. That's one way you can probably prevent the layoffs of the people that are on the grounds. Another way you could prevent the layoffs of the people on the grounds is with the percentages that you heard about tonight of other executive director members, executive directors that equate the two, Mrs. Cribbs and Dr. Mitchell, their increase between 23-24 and 24-25 equates to another teacher or GREA staff member. It should actually be policy that the increased percentage of the highest paid staff should not be greater than the percentage of the lowest paid. That should be our motto, our representation. I also want to quickly talk about 13.1 Ad Hoc Facilities Committee report. On June 9th, we were informed about Montessori and their 2 options. District employees were asked to bring options and numbers back to the July 14th meeting, and we're told no problem, next 2 weeks. Yet there was no ad hoc facilities meeting tonight, and there's still no update for GR Montessori.
D. Jones.
How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones. Just wanted to speak on the equity policy, at-risk policy, and equal education opportunity. These things are important to me because I was been advocating for esports for a very long time to increase equity, equal opportunity for students regardless of their background and ethnicity. Me working with one of our worst underperforming schools, which is Ottawa Hills High School, with the work and advocacy that I've been doing for you guys to increase the equity and opportunities for students, I'm happy to say that 9 students at Ottawa Hills High School received scholarships for esports. 5 of those students are graduated high school and were seniors. The valedictorian at Ottawa Hills High School actually received a full ride scholarship for esports. And there are 4 underclassmen that are already signed that are going to colleges and universities after this next following year. So as you guys continuously develop these policies, I'd like for you guys to think about the opportunities of increasing equity and being sure that the students and that you guys are engaging in the best policies possible for our community and students, because I've been doing the groundwork, I've been passionately advocating, I've been coming to you guys consistently, and I'm very happy to say that 9 students in this time span of this beginning of the season since last October, 9 students, that's very significant for just that short time span of just the esports lab just being built. So I would ask you guys to please, please, please support all policies for equal opportunity, for equal education in tech. And I would also want to give the shout out to the teachers, because those teachers and educators are very vital to our students and the destiny of our students and the community and community partners. So please think about paying these staff people because they deserve that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, that concludes our agenda item public comment. So we will be moving on to GRPS Foundation report.
I'd like to invite Ms. Andrews and Ms. Cheney to come forward.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Davis, Education. Oh, I don't have a presentation, so I don't know what that fun noise is. Just want to share, and it'll be quick and brief tonight. The Grand Rapids Public Schools Foundation has obviously wrapped our year, and we'll be coming out with an impact report of the funds that we have distributed to the GRPS school district this year, and all the impact that we hope that have made on our teachers, principals, and obviously our scholars. I want to share that we are going to be doing some internal work on how are we supporting the district going forward and how we can uplift a lot of the things that are happening for our students, including our teacher mini grants, which will be opening this summer. We want to give our teachers that are headed back to school more time. And we're also looking at how the administration is changing some of the laws, so if we can provide more funding to our teachers without having impact on taxes, we are looking to do that as much as possible. We'll also be opening up some community conversations about how we can really impact the work that we're doing and what do we see that we can all collectively do together. So that is my report for this evening. Thank you. Secretary's report.
All right, just a few reminders that our Finance Committee is scheduled to meet on July 28th here at the Board Chambers at 4:30 p.m. Again, Board Docs, GRPS Board Docs is where you can find those meetings and agendas. And then also Ad Hoc Facilities Meeting is scheduled on August 11th at 5 p.m. in Conference Room 112 in the Library Building. That's the building right next to ours. And that's all I've got for my report.
Thank you.
And moving on to the policy advisory report.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to just thank the committee, all of the attendees that showed up week after week at our policy advisory meetings, the principals, the parents, the translators, interpreters, and of course our board, my board colleagues, community members, and everyone showed up and had so much great feedback, and I believe we've done some heavy work, and we are not complete. So since March, our Policy Advisory Committee has met regularly to review and strengthen our district policies. The group included board members, like I said, administrators, families, community partners, all working together to ensure our policies reflect the needs and values of our school community and the safety of our school community. To date, the committee has reviewed 8 key policies and recommended updates that focus primarily on protecting and supporting our most marginalized scholars and families. These 8 revised policies are on our agenda tonight for board action, with the goal of having them in place for the start of the new year, this new school year. However, I'm not quite sure that we are ready to vote on them. I would rather them be for review. We have some discussion that needs to happen after I kind of read through them all. I wouldn't recommend them to go for a board vote just yet.
Would you recommend that this be the first review?
Yes, I will recommend that this be our first review, but we do have more, 2 more policies. We plan to reconvene later this month to review additional policies. Oh, sorry. I didn't see that. So this is the first read. So I do plan, yeah, so I retract my statement or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we aim to bring the proposed changes to those policies in our next meeting to the board in August. But I hope that it'd be at a work session so we can discuss more, because some of the policies we do have like some board discussion that needs to happen around them. Okay. Overall, this experience has brought on some really good ideas around how the board reviews policies, the processes we just talked about in our meeting before this meeting. And I would think that this is a new precedence to how we, work with our community to review policies in our district. That's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, so when we get to those action items, we still can vote on the first reading, correct?
Yeah.
I just want to clarify it. I know, okay.
I totally missed presentation of first reading at the end of each and every line.
Okay, so moving forward, we have the superintendent's report.
Good evening once again to everyone. Just very quickly, the sinking fund is what we're going to have some broader discussions around this evening. As you recall, a couple of weeks ago and earlier even this spring, we talked about the purpose of a sinking fund. And just for the general communication for our broader community, it's a sinking fund, bond dollars that can be assigned to existing projects. Sinking funds are needed for district-wide support and technology being one of them. Other things that are some uses include purchase of, these are permitted uses, I should say, purchase of real estate for sites, construction or repair of school buildings, school security improvements, acquisition or upgrading of technology, student transportation vehicles, parts, supplies, equipments used for the maintenance of student transportation vehicles, acquisition of trucks and vans, and the last sinking fund millage that the district had approved was in 2011. And so this is outside of our current facilities master plan. It allows us to kind of do some of the other things. And if you recall, as we reached out to our community, which we are extremely thankful for the $305 million of support for our district facility master plan, you will recall that we have about $600 million in the needs of our district when you talk about parking lots and roof repairs and some of those other things that have been in place. And so Kyle Prey, one of our consultants, is coming forward to kind of give an overview if this is something that the board would like to pursue, because, and if so, just as a quick reminder that we have a time frame of what we need to do and when we need to do it, and we need to have that approval for it, if that makes sense. And so with that, I will turn it over to Kyle.
Good evening, everyone. Superintendent, board. Thank you. I'm glad to see you all again. It's been a couple weeks. First, I have included a slide here around informational communications. So as we're, if we were to go forward with a sinking fund and do an informational communications plan, we can't use public funds or school time to perform advocacy. You can provide informational materials as staff members, and you can engage as an individual or private citizen. What is a sinking fund? The superintendent did a good job of summing that up. So you can see that information here. I know there was a question last time that we have addressed here. Recent legislation in 2017 made some changes to sinking fund and included a 10-year limit. So a sinking fund can only go for 10 years now. It can go for less, but only 10 years. And then you see the last sinking fund results there, 52.9% yes. Some timeline considerations. We have November of this year. As you know, costs can be reduced or split with other bad proposals. You can combine efforts with volunteers. There is a quick turnaround time because ballot resolutions are due by August 12th. August of next year, you'll have Dem primaries with higher turnout, but there will be higher costs there, fewer volunteers with summer break leading into election, and then 2 canvassing needs within a year. And then November next year, you'll have even higher turnout and higher costs as a result of that. When we think about all these things, best place to start is a survey of likely voters, the stakeholders that we're going to be going to. We can perform a 400 respondent sample. This would be anywhere from, depending on the number of questions and the flow of questions, 13 to 18 minutes. And many of the questions you may have can be answered from this survey, including ballot language specifics, election timing, millage amount and length. And depending on approvals of that, potential results of a survey could be back early August. So a reminder of that August 12th date. The results would likely be here very close to that window. And so any questions around sinking funds?
Kyle, can you talk? Oh, sorry. Can you talk a little bit more about the breakdown of costs? Because 400 individuals for a survey feels really low to me for the amount of money.
That's a standard sample size for when we do anything in Kent County. That's a pretty standard sample size, 400 respondents.
And what's the cost specifically for that survey?
The cost would, we can get you a specific proposal, but it would range from $25,000 to $30,000.
And that is included in that, the 25 to 30K is already included in the proposed $85,000 request.
I do not have the specifics of the request in front of you tonight.
Okay.
I am here simply for the sinking fund. So I'm not sure about.
Ask your question again. I'm sorry, I didn't track it.
I think it's related because the request is coming from CFIRTH. It's not our next agenda item.
Yes, the purchasing agenda.
And that on the purchasing agenda, I believe we're being asked to approve an $85,000 quote from CFIRTH. And my curiosity is that 25 to 30 is already included in that 85, or would that be in addition?
I think that's accurate. I do think that's accurate. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a way to confirm that? Is there? I don't know if
I can.
You've got it. Yeah. I would like to know that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Could you speak to just what a sinking fund would potentially bring to the district? Because of course, sticker shock, right, is $85,000 when we, are struggling to pay our teachers. I would like to have that be more transparent to just our audience, to our community in general.
Yeah, of course. So as the superintendent mentioned, a sinking fund is for building maintenance, infrastructure, technology. When we did it in 2011, you'll recall it was under the moniker warm, safe, and dry. It went to things like failing roofs, boilers that needed to be replaced, sort of those emergency items. It's unlike a bond because it doesn't create that debt or incur that interest. I believe when we did it in 2011, and Rhonda Cribbs would be better to speak to this, but I believe it was around $5 million it generated annually.
I just want to clarify. So again, you said that the last time we had a sinking fund, it generated $5 million that could go to those purposes.
Correct.
So now
Annually.
Annually. So that those would be funds that we would not have to figure out how to appropriate out of general funds that would be dedicated off of this millage. I mean, again, we don't know numbers this time around, but somewhere around there. Okay. Thank you.
I do want to say that the purchasing agenda says that it includes planning, surveys, community engagement, and communication. So I would assume that the surveys are part of the surveys in there. That makes sense.
Could you speak as well? Could you just, for our benefit, walk through how public surveys and surveys of likely voters work in whatever detail you're comfortable?
I am not a survey expert.
Yes, but whatever detail you're
they conduct them using both landlines and cell phones. It's weighted based on likely voters, so they proportion it based on the likely voter turnout. And then, as mentioned, it's a 13 to 18 minute conversation over the phone. It's not just simple yeses and noses, there's logics to it. And then the result of that is then quite a lengthy report that would give us some insight into some of those questions you may have.
Thank you. Did we do polling when we did our
For the bond?
Yeah.
Yes. So in
2017, I think it was?
No. For
bond,
for the bond, there was a poll, and it was maybe 2 years. I might be fuzzy on my date, but there was like a poll, and I recall that it was about 400 respondents, and there were questions of kind of to see the overall tolerance or willingness to consider a bond and what that would look like.
Thank you.
And this would give us a good picture of if it would be more beneficial to have it on the November ballot or the following August.
Yeah.
Do you happen to have the price of how much more it would be if we were to have it later on? So in next year primaries or next year general?
Oh, you mean like a general budget for the? I don't have a general budget amount for you. You just know that turnout's going to be larger, and so mailings and everything else, it's going to incur more costs.
Right, and this, if we did decide to do it for November, the cost of the election is shared with the ISD, correct? Because we already have the county.
I want to clarify that November of 2025,
Correct.
the cost is shared with the ISD. If it were to be in November of 2026, it would be solely the cost absorbed by the district.
I guess I'm wondering if now's the time to discuss as a board the opportunity to maybe simply move forward with a November ballot initiative.
I think we can have that discussion, Amber, when we vote, but if there's any other questions for Kyle specifically, let's ask those now.
I would be interested to hear if y'all done something recent with another district, just from like, I guess it's hard, like political context with the landscape.
It would be too hard to compare, apples and oranges. I can say we know, looking at May, what passed. Renewals, all but 2 renewals passed statewide, and about half of new ballot proposals failed.
So the election results that you're showing us right now, that is just the city of Grand Rapids. It's just a citywide. Okay. And I just want to say to my colleagues, I do support a sinking fund. Obviously, what was the last time frame for a sinking fund? 10 years or less?
I think we did it for 5.
5 years? Okay, so $25 million, approximately.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
And let Rhonda Cribbs confirm the exact
Right.
amount, but-
Let's say, yeah, approximately, you know, give or take. And I do support that. I also look at those numbers and want to say, okay, you know, not to say that that was the slimmest of margins, but it's slimmer than one would like, correct? And so I also just, I mean, of course, that's why we are doing the survey. And I think we had this conversation about what is the appetite, was the language used, right? What is the appetite for this? However, I do think this is an overall positive, net positive for our district. But I also just am interested to see, you know, what the numbers would look like. And I wonder if 85,000, right, to spend at a time when we are so tight with our budget. You know, I guess I'm just weighing the pros and cons, right? Because I don't know what the survey will say, but let's say the survey says, man, we're not, let's try again at a later date, right? Is it worth the 85,000? So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here for my colleagues, and so I just continue to.
Just a point of clarification, the polls specifically, if we get those poll results, we haven't expended the complete 85,000, correct? We will have spent the money for the surveys and polls, correct?
So 30,000?
Correct.
And then the rest of the 50,000 is for campaign
Correct.
mailers and such? Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
That's if we decide
Any
to
other
go
questions for Kyle?
Is it correct though to say, so we would be spending the 25 to 30,000 in order to prevent ourselves from losing potentially the other 50?
50,000.
And then, of course,
Yeah.
if we gain that, we're gaining millions, which goes right into buildings specifically. Yeah.
And technology.
And tech, yeah, thank you. But
Which would take funds, like add funds back to our general funds.
Correct.
And
So-
so, just so people understand how this would work, and I don't know how much a sinking fund would yield, but
I'm
if
sorry,
we just.
Dr. Roby, can I just ask the audience to please refrain from talking because I'm having a hard time concentrating on what my colleagues are saying?
And so, if 5 years, $25 million, using kind of just the last time, that would be $25 million that wouldn't come out of general board dollars. It would be, that frees up other things. And so even as we've listened to conversations around pay and some other things, that provides an opportunity to have those monies freed up and the monies that would be allocated for buildings and other things, kind of the routine maintenance and upkeep of buildings to be used from that sinking fund.
Could you, Kyle, go back to the slide that shows the deadline, just so I can see that again?
That shows what, sorry?
That's perfect. So really the question, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. So the question with doing the survey now is we need to figure out what is, again, the language we've used before, what is the appetite among voters in the city? You know, not, you know, they could be any voter, anybody over 18 in the city in approving this. So the purpose of the survey is really to gauge where are voters' opinions on this. That way we can time whenever we bring this forward, time it right so we don't spend whatever amount of money on a losing election item.
Correct.
Okay.
And it can also help with the ballot language, the election timing, the amount,
Yeah.
and the length, all of that.
So we know that whatever we're putting forward, we can, you know, you can't ever assure success in election, but you can get as close as we would otherwise. That way, yeah, we do, you know, get what we're trying to get out of this. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Okay, we are moving on to action items now. First up is the purchasing agenda. Any discussion? Amber, this is where we...
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm wondering where within our budget we've set aside 85,000 for something like this. Where is this money coming from?
And so Ms. Cribbs is out today, but we can certainly try to get that information for
Okay.
you. But it would have to come out of the general fund. And I don't want to say it's
Yeah.
this bucket or that bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be curious about which bucket then,
Yeah.
you know, which line item that would come from. And then, yeah, I had sent this in an earlier email, but I'd really like to see the breakdown of what this $85,000 is going toward. I see that it is lumped in as this would be planning, surveys, community engagement, and communications, but which of, how much to each of those items? And then personally, I'm feeling that we can save up to $30,000 if we just move forward with a November ballot initiative instead of working, instead of the survey, which would help us decide which month to put it in and which year.
I think
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the risk with skipping the survey is then like with the language of it, so we do risk, sorry, you can go, Kim.
No, I
No,
was
please
just
go ahead.
clarifying what I whispered was that it sounded as though the plan that was presented to us was in any instance, whether it's now, August, November, that we would go forward with trying to understand what likely voters would have that support for before we would do it. So I don't think that there was a plan to jump part of it and just not do the polls, I thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. That Trustee Williams, that's what I got as well. And I would feel comfortable. So the purchasing agenda does denote $85,000, and I would feel comfortable supporting the 30,000, 25 to 30,000 to do the survey, but I'm not quite sure if we should jump the gun and say, all right, 85,000 for this entire package when we're not even sure if we want to move forward based on what the community might say.
I also want to just uplift other ballot initiative that's happening with statewide partners. I was like, how does this work alongside the Michigan Invest Kids? So if there are other initiatives that do support our district, we're not also talking about what kind of investment we're doing towards that.
I think that's a worthwhile question as well, because those ones in particular would end up on next year November's ballot, but there is the ISD millage that's coming up this November, which gets into the discussion of who's, the cost of getting on a ballot itself, being able to, is it shared, or is that ISD would pay for ballot access
Shared
itself?
cost, I believe.
Shared, okay. So that in itself is helpful. Again, I said this at our last work session, my instinct is, I want to see November, but these are big, I'm one voter. I know how I'd vote on the sinking fund this fall if we were to do it, but I think it is really important to gauge where the public is on this, because, maybe the political climate right now, for whatever reason, voters aren't in favor of, this would be a tax increase on their property taxes. Maybe voters right now don't stomach that, but maybe we get polling results back and it shows next year they stomach it or whatever. But with that timeline, I'd rather have that information now than later, because maybe, November is when the iron's hottest, and if we wait any longer, we're gonna lose that. So I think for me, it's a matter of, it's important that we move, quickly on this, just because we don't know what the polling results are gonna show, and whatever the polling results show, that's gonna inform how we phrase it, how we message on it, how we campaign on it. And having that sooner than later is gonna help even decide, do we do it this November? Do we do it in the spring? Do we do it next November? Whatever the case may be.
Trustee Davis,
Thank you.
would
I
you like to
appreciate
finish
that.
your thoughts?
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think it's worth even uplifting what someone else mentioned, that we do consider splitting this cost. I mean, with all of the talk that we had about being a lot more intentional with our spending, if we think it's going to cost between $25,000-$35,000 to do the survey, this is a proposal for the whole year. I get the value in just saying let's just vote it and approve it, but I think it's worthwhile considering, do we approve half of it now, so $42,000, and then reevaluate later in the year when we need to increase that amount?
Is that even an option?
You can amend, and so, as I'm speaking for a outside company.
That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know that you can say, we could say, yes, this is what we're willing to do, or we would like to just do the survey, with the assumption, and assuming positive intent, the assumption that they would be amenable to that. And we might have to come back and then do it again later, but just to make sure, because what I think I'm hearing is that people would prefer, I'm saying people, the board, the general conversation is to expend the 25 to 30,000 to do the survey, and once we have those results, then to make a decision on next steps, which also includes the marketing, all the other kind of components. But again, not having the representative from the company, I can't say what they would be, because that would be a contract and an agreement that would have to be negotiated.
I also want to uplift the fact that there is a time constraint that we're looking at as well. And so that is something that has to be considered, because if they're going to do those surveys and stuff, we're going to be going right into trying to, again, create ballot language. And that's another thing that we have to be concerned about, like if we are giving them the time to do the work that needs to be done so that this is done well, versus again, if we approve it, we don't have to expend it. If, again, we know what we've already making our intent clear that we were looking at that polls to determine whether or not we'll go forward. That's part of the understanding with the contract. If we don't approve it and it does cost some additional lay with that ballot language, then we've spent it and now we're already pushed back to another later date.
That's what I was wondering. If we approve this tonight, we're approving the possibility of up to this
85,000.
For the district to spend, but that doesn't mean you have to spend it. If the survey results come back that it's not going to pass, then couldn't we decide then not to move forward?
I guess it would
I'm
determine
going to
the
ask
contract
Mr.
language.
Cottle, because you would know more on contract language, just to come forward and maybe help kind of navigate some of this conversation, please.
Yeah, I guess.
Because that's what I'm
yeah.
a little less comfortable with, because if it's a contract
I think
between
we're not approving a contract, though. We're approving an amount.
An amount, okay, okay, okay.
Is that?
We did your work for you.
Okay. So yeah, we're not approving their contract.
Okay.
And we're also not spending $85,000 tomorrow. We're approving up to that
We're not
amount.
sending them an $85,000 check.
No.
Correct.
We're saying, you guys, this is what you guys have to spend with this company.
Would the contract, oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, would the contract then come back to us for another approval then? If it's, because
I
it's
think, right, because it would be over.
over the 28,000 mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the amount release.
Wait, could you rephrase it? Sorry, I misunderstood you.
So, something only has to come to us, am I correct, and only above a certain amount, a certain threshold, which is 28 something?
Changes every year.
Yeah.
It's a public bidding threshold.
Yeah. So then we would have to approve the amount for the contract then at a later date anyways?
Correct.
Okay. So it'd have to come to us again for a second time,
The contract
for the services?
For the services.
Because right now, we're just approving
we're just, yeah.
the amount.
Oh, yeah, we're just budgeting and
Yes.
appropriating. I follow, thank you.
And I also would say that I would prefer that we do the survey even just for the line item of like language. If we can determine what our community
For the
would be
ballot.
more apt to vote for based on language, that would be of benefit, because we're talking about millions of dollars that we could potentially get for our district.
Well, and even one step further, more than just like the language, what do they really want? So if we can craft the survey, like he said, to being really a question around what, physical, of course, talking about the infrastructure, what is most valued by our community, that would be valuable.
Any other comments or questions?
I just want to end with seeing as it will need to come to us a second time. That makes me, because I was questioning now that, Trustee Williams said, oh, well, we have to do it again. That makes me a little more confident then in only approving possibly what Trustee Davis said is half, $30,000, $40,000. I guess we'd have to choose an amount, but it'd have to come to us again anyways. So I'd then be more comfortable in amending that amount to a lower amount.
I mean, if that makes my colleagues more comfortable, like, I think there's a lot of merit in doing the survey, and I support the sinking fund. The question is, what do the voters want? So I guess, among the 9 of us, I'd support that as well, if that's what it took for us to move forward and get towards getting sinking fund.
I think from a community or not just community, but contractor standpoint, is if we approve part of this funds, how are we giving good faith that we would say, okay, thank you for the survey, we're gonna go with somebody else? Or like how are we giving them good faith that we'll continue this work with them? If I was on the other end of this, I'd be like, wait, so you want me to do this part and then what? it wouldn't be, it would kind of be a little uncomfortable for me as a business, you know, to work with that type of situation. Although I'm good with whatever our colleagues are comfortable with.
I hear you, Ari, and echo similar sentiments, because I think the contract language could be really intentional to say, hey, we want to do this in phases. Can we ensure that it comes back to the board? So then they can have the final say or the next say if we move on to phase 2, whatever that looks like. So I could support that. Again, I still do want to uplift the other ballot initiatives. I know it's not part of this conversation, but like what our investment looks like alongside that, because I mean, statewide efforts to do similar things is really appealing to me. So I just don't want to lose that, and I know it's a separate conversation. I just want to continue uplifting.
I'd like to have.
Yeah.
One other thing I think I'll just point out is we're looking at like $85,000. If I'm reading this and I'm seeing, okay, we have $85,000 going to planning, surveys, community engagement, communications for a citywide campaign effectively in Grand Rapids in a presidential year. That's a pretty, I don't know, I think all said, I think that's a pretty reasonable price. I think as we, whether or not we approve 85 today or not, looking at that total cost for a campaign, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're comfortable, we can move to a vote whenever the time is right, but I feel like we're comfortable approving this, knowing that we are gonna have opportunity to amend later if necessary.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I also don't want to lose Amber's question around the cost breakdown. Like that still feels really important to me too.
Do you need that in order to vote?
No.
I do not need that in order to vote. Thank you.
Motion
I
to
guess I'm wondering, are we voting on the full 85, or are we still talking
Yes.
about like the 42?
Unless
Okay.
somebody's making a motion to amend.
I would like to make a motion to amend it to 40,000. Again, just reiterating what I've already said. Just that we are going to come back to this at a later date. So I would like to make the motion to amend to 40,000 and moving forward.
Seconded.
Am I still able to speak on that?
Oh.
Or is
Oh.
the motion?
I'll withdraw.
It's already late
Too
now.
I know.
It's
but
too
on
late.
that motion? Okay.
Sorry.
You can't speak? Oh, sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye.
Aye.
All right, roll call. Vote.
Yep.
Okay. Trustee Rodriguez, aye. VP Wade?
Nay?
Nay, yeah. Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Williamson?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
No. Oh, sorry.
You're the president. Trustee Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Trustee Melton?
No.
Trustee Moreno?
No.
President Davis?
No.
All right, that motion fails.
Do I have a motion to approve the full amount?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the GREA layoff resolution. Any comments or questions?
Yes, I was not able, I was working all day today, so I was not able to understand the context of this. So if it would be all right just to speak a little bit about the context of this, the timing of it, and even why it's necessary, that would be helpful.
So, sure. The resolution, this is something that we have done as part of past practice. And so the last time that there were district layoffs for our teachers, it was part of a resolution. I want to say it was 2019, because I wanted to make sure I understood correctly as well. And so it is part of a best practice just to, and from our legal department, that a resolution should be required for certified teachers. The impact is that we have staff members, employees who are not properly certified and endorsed to teach in the areas. It does not mean that we are not still working with them to find different positions that they can go in, but the current positions they are not able to do as such.
So even though there are other open positions, we have, like, it's a process that we have to go through because they can't just be moved to a different position? Is that, am I understanding
There's
that
not
correctly?
currently a position that they can go, that's available. That's why the layoff.
And even not through the promise, all of the pieces that help people become certified in their area? You know, all the programs that we talk about when we do, you know, retention and recruitment?
And so what I don't know, and I'll have Mr. Cottle, who works
Yeah.
in HR as legal, but I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. How I've understood is that the staff members aren't currently certified. I don't know, I can't speak to the specifics of, have they had, their time has expired for that, for the what do you call it, like emergency
Yeah,
licensure?
certification.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
just confused by,
Yeah.
by how that would work when we have so many needs.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's.
Please come to the table.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, from my understanding, their certs lapsed last year, so they were teaching without the proper certifications. They lapsed, I believe they got warnings. I wasn't too involved in the whole process, that was more on the HR side of things. But since they lapsed, they didn't get certified, and there weren't any vacancies in the certifications that they did hold, we've had to move this way.
So that, how does that relate to the layoffs as a whole, like the list of layoffs? 'Cause
Separate.
that's different.
Separate.
So the layoffs.
This has nothing to do with the budget. This has to do with the fact that they are no longer certified in vacant positions that we have.
To be clear, we're speaking to the two individuals.
two
listed.
individuals.
Yeah, that's different.
So were the other two non-GREA employees? Is that what the difference is? Or is it just
They are
because
GREA.
They are.
they are
They're both-
GREA?
they're both
They
teachers.
just didn't have their certification lapse?
And so the other people that were laid off are not in the layoff list? That, you see what I'm saying? How?
I can see where it's
Yeah.
confusing. And so the layoff list that is something that we've talked about as far as our process, where people were informed July 1. And because they are not in a collective bargaining unit, it has a different process. It does not have to go through what we're suggesting for this. And even this is something that has been previously done. So this is the first time in my history of the district that we've had actual teacher layoffs. It has not happened since 2019.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised by
Yeah.
it, yeah.
So, wait,
Keeping-
now I'm a little, because the other layoffs aren't GREA.
As far as I'm aware.
Okay.
They're not-
I just-
yeah, they're
I just
not
understood the
GREA.
opposite of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're not GREA
None of them are
positions.
GREA, okay. That makes sense. I understood something opposite the last time I just asked a question, but, so then this, and pardon me if I missed the answer already to this. So this is coming to the board because they are in a bargaining unit, or what is the purpose or
Yeah,
intent of us?
Certified teachers to be laid off has to be approved by the board.
But they're not.
But they're not
But they're not
certified.
They do, but they don't have vacancies in the certificates that they hold. They were teaching in other areas that they didn't have certification for.
Yeah, I think it's worth just clarifying the comment as I read it. The comment as I read it is employee is not, so this, what we're specifically looking at now in this line item 10.2 is employee is not properly certified, endorsed, or qualified to teach as that instructor.
So to be clear, because these two individuals are members of, or maybe not members, but they're subject to their bargaining unit, we have to go through this process. They are they are not non-exempt. They are.
It has to do with the law, not necessarily
Because-
the CBA, correct.
Okay.
Under law, certified teachers to be laid off. have
Okay,
to be.
so it's because they're certified educators.
Correct. They still have a certificate, but we just don't have any vacancies available for the certificates they had, and they were teaching, if I understand correctly, in different subject matters.
Than what they're certified in.
Correct.
Okay.
And they were given the opportunity to do the emergency cert,
As
if we're
far
getting
as
all the
I'm
pieces
aware.
together
Yeah,
here.
okay.
And for whatever reason did not.
As far as I'm aware, yes.
It would be helpful if
I would like to know that for sure.
It would be helpful if that context is provided when we go through this, but thank you.
I'm just curious, and maybe I missed conversation on this earlier, but other than like voting yes on this today, like what are the other options available to us?
If I could recall from a previous incident when there was a teacher that was working outside of classification, then we were obligated to pay them from differently, and it was quite expensive that way. And we weren't. It was something where we were like, if I remember correctly, it was like because they weren't, we were being fined by the state, and thus we had to pay them differently than we paid the rest of the contract. And so it was. I feel like this was about. I feel like it was almost about a year ago.
Yeah,
It
was a different situation, but yeah, same.
It was, and we were then beholden to still pay. We would be paying them and being fined.
We would have to pay a fine.
Oh, the state was fining us because we were employing a non-certified teacher in that subject
Yes.
area teaching. Okay.
And if I recall, that did go on longer than what this did, so I appreciate the due diligence of the district in bringing this forward sooner rather than later. And so, yeah, I mean, it sounds like they were, awarded different opportunities to maintain that licensure and failed to do so.
And they still have the potential to come back and work for the district if something opens up in
In their licensing area, yeah.
I guess I have two more questions. I've heard you say, Trustee Williams, that we receive fines if they're not in compliance with this, correct? Okay, I just want to name that out loud and
Yes.
get clarity around that.
And so how MDE works is people can get a variance of a license for a period of time.
Mhm.
And once that variance to teach outside of your licensed area expires, then the district has to pay back to the state whatever the rate is for that particular position. And
Okay.
that's happened a couple of times, and we're trying to make sure that, again, we
Mhm.
are being consistent in letting people know what their licensing is, but also, and we've had this conversation too, all educators receive, you have usually a 5-year license, and it is the educator's job to make sure that they also keep up with their license and making sure that they're getting their
Yeah,
CEUs or sketches, as they're called.
Okay. And then question number 2, do we, I won't say names or even the type of teacher, but to me, these are areas where we need educators. So I'm wondering, do we have, are these now filled? Or do we know if these roles?
What they're licensed, what they're licensed in, there are no current vacancies.
I know. I'm saying they were covering positions
That they're leaving
that
open.
I'm now wondering, do we have a full-time person in that role, or would that be?
Whatever that portion is, I assume.
Okay.
So, yes.
So if, I'm interested in knowing if those positions got filled, because we have a lot need to be filled, but why can't they be like a substitute teacher in that classroom? Is that like, would it have to?
Then
like,
it would
they
have to go
through a different program?
It does go through a different program, and so, who is our edu staff? So if your license has expired and you can still work in the district, but then it's at a different rate of pay, you're not part of the GRE.
You would still
Yeah,
be
and you
like-
would have to, yeah.
Okay.
So again, just to repeat the question, do we know, maybe we don't know at this moment, but it'd be helpful to know, we have these, the reason these folks are being laid off is they're not qualified to teach in their areas, right?
They don't hold the license.
They don't hold the license
They don't hold the
in that
license for the
area.
areas that they've been assigned.
And in whatever area they're licensed, they are assuming their license hasn't lapsed. Never mind, there's too many hypotheticals, thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the layoff resolution?
So moved.
Is there support?
Seconded.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, for our first reading of all of these policies, 10.3 through 10.10, we do have the capability to accept them as a slate, accept the first reading as a slate. Do I have a motion to approve
But you know what,
policy?
stick around because we're going to talk about policies. There may be some clarity.
Well, first of all, are there any other questions or wonderings?
Could we just get a, just for my comprehension, could we get a quick summary again of maybe just like in so many few words in each individual policy, what it addresses, and how it fits in the larger whole? Like, I understand the language of it, but just understanding the context of how this gets to our goal. And I don't know if Thomas is better to speak to that, whomever, but whoever.
What was the question?
Just a, like, I'm reading the language of this, but just understanding it in the context of the advisory.
Why we chose this
Yeah,
policy
like how,
for
yes.
that? Okay.
Like how this fits into the larger goal.
The equity policy?
Kind
Well,
of
all of them, right?
All of them.
Because
Like if
they
you could
all
summarize.
impact
You
our
mean
most
one,
marginalized
so do
students.
you want a reason for each one or for all of them?
I don't need a reason necessarily, just summarize like how does, these are being, am I not being clear at all?
Not really. And so how
Okay.
I'm that already. How I think I want to make sure people understand with these particular policies, this came as part of our work as our new administration was taking over, and then also some of the concerns around how folks can access our young people and our buildings, and so the task that this board charged with is to look at specific policies, because it was specific to around access and our most, I wouldn't say most vulnerable, but people who would feel more vulnerable, and to clarify language so that we tightened up and refined language where it may have been a little bit grayer. And so what you have are kind of clarifications related to those items to kind of make sure that it was, and again, there's not a way to address every possible circumstance that people may find themselves in, but to make sure from a policy standpoint, we've tightened up some of those items.
Perfect, thank
Does
you.
that help?
That's perfect,
Okay.
thanks.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to approve policy 1017, 7165, 8010, 8018, 8040, 8090, 9400, and 9410?
Motion to approve the first reading of the previously stated policies.
Seconded.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to our consent agenda grouping. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to board president announcements. What I would like to bring forward today is, did I miss something?
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
Is conferences for our board. So the deadline for the CUBE conference is not the deadline, but the deadline for a lesser rate. Early bird, there you go, is coming up in about 2 weeks, I believe. And I bring it up because I do have, oh, thank you. I do have 2 board colleagues that I have asked if they would be interested, and they have voiced interest. And that is Trustee Moreno and Trustee Wade. However, after talking to them, it came forward that the district will not be sending any staff members out of state because of budget. So I'm bringing this forward to the board. I did talk to Trustee Moreno and Trustee Wade about this as well. I know we aren't staff, but it's something to consider. I will say that our board budget has been cut in half. So to some extent, I think we could determine how that money is spent because we have cut our budget in half. If we value a conference out of state, I personally think if that's what we value, then that's what we should invest in. But we did break down some of the numbers. So based on the CUBE conference from last year, and just estimates from this year, it would cost about $3,000 for an individual to attend with flight and hotel and conference. That being said, I'm just planning on if we do send these two colleagues, it would be just 2 individuals, and we've sent more than that in the past. And that would be roughly half of our funding allotted for workshops and conferences. So something.
And that's the early bird rate?
Yes, something to consider. Some things that have been brought up when I'm talking with, in talking with colleagues about this conference is that it is the urban district conference, and so there's value with that because we don't get a lot of exposure where we are to districts that are in our situation, I guess, or that have like-minded or
similar needs,
similar demographics, and that sort of thing. So if any, I'm opening it up for discussion really right now before I make that decision. Another thing to consider is the conferences that we usually attend.
Has all participants completed the orientation trainings that we've asked for? I think that we should make sure that that's done as well before we say, oh, well, we'll send you out of state, but you haven't done the ones that you can access within the state. So I would encourage us to make sure that that is being utilized. And then given the fee of the out-of-state conference, I'm wondering if, and I don't know, it may make a difference whether it's in-state or out-of-state, I don't know if it will, but should we, because of the significant cut, should we maybe consider just one? I know it's tough. I mean, nobody wants to be there all alone, but I think the education piece and the information that we get and the learning in that conference in particular is dynamic. Mm-hmm. It's very relevant for a district like ours, but you know, with our cost being that significant, I'm wondering if colleagues would be okay with one going.
I appreciate that thought. I personally had a really hard time even considering going down to 2 people for a conference because I find the most value. You know, when I went to CUBE, there were 4 of us that went. You were with me, Kim. Yeah. And I feel like it was the conversations we had after attending different sessions that really made it impactful because we were able to bounce ideas and information off each other and talk about how we could bring that back to our district. And I mean, we've had a lot of, I would like to broaden this conversation in a future meeting if possible, because I think there's a lot to be said about when we come back from a conference, I think we could do a much better job of digging into that information and sharing that information so that it carries, so that we utilize it, you know, so.
I guess that would be my input is what was it from last year's CUBE that we are implementing now? What was the benefit that keeps us coming back to this? Okay.
I think we need to do a better job of utilizing that information because I think those that have attended CUBE have found value in it. Am I correct?
So
Yeah.
I was going to say, as a CUBE conference attender, I do think it was valuable information. However, I also don't know if the information and the cost of like being in Las Vegas and on, you know, hotel, whatever, all that stuff necessarily you know, if the information gained outweighs the cost. And I would like to have a conversation around how do we not just present this information, but implement it within our work as a board. I would like to have that conversation before even considering more travel. I mean, of course, the 2 that you mentioned, like, you know, like they've already been accounted for. But I do think we have to be a little more intentional with that. I mean, and there are so many other things, like we've gone to state right, conferences and such. And there's also me and Trustee Moreno just actually came back from Chicago from another conference that wasn't necessarily related. You know, I mean, it was directly related to school board, but not through NSBA or MASB. But there are alternatives out there that are more cost effective. So I think there's options, and I think, yeah, just thinking about the process of how we implement our learnings.
Yeah, and just to support, I support that, Jose, and I do think it's important, like, the budget at the district and the decisions they've made for conferences are very different than the board, you know, like, just how we function is different, and so to have cut our budget in half and still work within that, I think we should really just use our best discernment to learn and to grow as much as we can, but I really want to support the idea of coming back with some things to share. Yeah, every conference should help us, right? It should help us improve. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm gaining much clarity from
So I
this.
would say yes.
Okay.
To more than one person, to really specific intentional decisions about where we learn.
So as board president, I feel like part of what I'm charged with is determining who goes to what conferences, right? But I just wanted to get your input before I make this decision, because it is half of our conference and workshop budget.
Are there any other upcoming conferences that you would even be considering?
So, well, yeah, so in the fall, in October, there's the ASB conference in Traverse City. That's a lot less costly, right? And then, yeah, I mean, even if we do send Trustee Moreno and Trustee Wade, we still have roughly $6,000 to spend on conferences and workshops. So that's a leadership conference up in Traverse City. And then, well, there's one in DC.
Yeah, equity.
That is the equity conference and the equity and advocacy.
Yeah.
That's in DC.
Like January, February-ish, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there's the National School Board
Association conference.
And
which is usually the week of spring break.
Would you, colleagues that have been to some of these conferences, would you value CUBE over NASB?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it just so happens CUBE is first in this calendar budget. So once we get to NASB, we could determine if there's monies left. But I get the impression that CUBE is a priority.
Yeah. Just a thought, and this is something I don't know who I was just discussing it with, but have we considered, like, you know, giving every one of our board members, like, here's your allotment for professional development, and then kind of use it within your purview, right, and say, okay, you know, we hope that you find a reasonable, right, accommodations and such, and I'm sure Julie would help with that, but I think just to kind of help them take control of maybe like, oh, this is what I would like to do with professional development, because I know it all doesn't necessarily fall, like I mentioned, me and Trustee Moreno's conference, while I think both of us got a scholarship for it, you know, that could be something we choose to utilize it for professional development instead of just like CUBE or MASB. Just a suggestion, I don't know.
I think it's something, we've never done that. I think it's something we could talk about. I would have some questions and concerns when it comes to that, because then we're not deciding as a board which conferences are important. We're kind of just like, who knows what individuals will be on the board ever, you know? I don't know. It's more of an individual preference, and I like that we've narrowed down which conferences we feel are impactful. But I think we should, obviously, like, we can have those conversations and talk about that.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to vote on anything. I just wanted to bring that forward. Thank you for your input. And if you think of anything in the next couple days, I will probably be having Julie sign them up so we can get those early bird prices. So just let me know ASAP if you think of something. Okay, thank you. Moving on to our non-agenda item public comment. We do have quite a few public comment cards. So I will reduce the time again for the 2 minutes. Our first public comment does need a translator. Interpreter, it says translator on the top, so they specifically wrote that.
Just trying to correct the verbiage for all of us.
Okay, Ruby Garcia, followed by D. Jones.
Hola, buenas tardes a
Hey,
todos.
perdón, te vamos a dar 4 minutos, así es que empieza el tiempo a los 2 minutos, ¿ok?
We're going to give you 4 minutes, so start at 2 minutes.
Ya puedes ir.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Ruby García. Soy una madre de Sibley Elementary School.
Good afternoon, my name is Rui Garcia, and I am a mother from a student at Sibley.
Y estoy aquí en apoyo de Miss Maher.
I'm here to support Ms. Meyer.
Como directora fue una excelente directora en estos años y la vamos a extrañar. No sé el motivo el por cual ella se retire.
As a principal, she was excellent. I don't know why she is retiring.
Pero como directora fue un privilegio para nosotros como padres, porque sabe 2 idiomas.
As a director, she was, as a principal, she was a privilege to have because she knows both languages.
Y me pude comunicar con ella y acercar a ella con confianza.
And I could communicate with her and approach her with confidence.
Me sentí apoyada y muy bienvenida todo el tiempo que fui a la escuela y fui recibida por ella muy bien.
I felt supported with everything every time I greeted her at school.
Y espero tener una directora nueva que sea igual o más mejor que ella, porque creo que como directora hizo un excelente trabajo y no quiero que pare las actividades que ella hacía.
I hope that the new director, the new principal, would be as good or even better than her because of all the things that we were able to accomplish under her leadership.
Y yo creo que es todo lo que tengo que decir.
And I think that's all I have to say.
Estoy agradecida como madre porque no fue un año, fueron varios años y soy madre de años en esa escuela.
And I'm very grateful because it wasn't 1 year, it was a lot of years, and I'm very appreciative as a mother.
Y he visto cómo se esfuerza ella y todos los demás maestros en esa escuela.
And I see all the effort that not only her but all the rest of the teachers give at that school.
Excelente trabajo para todos ellos y muy agradecida como madre.
Excellent job and very grateful as a mother.
D. Jones, followed by Shannon Tanis.
How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones again. There's 3 handouts I was trying to pass out to the other people from the school board that didn't get the handouts. The reason I was handing those handouts to you guys right now, I'm partnering with an organization called Party, P-A-R-T-I. If you looked at the actual thing I looked at, I passed you guys out. Their COO handled $1 trillion investment portfolios, a trillion with a T, for several different governments and very rich elite people. Reason I'm trying to get you guys to see the vision for this is because the COO that I'm working with continuously, we're actually I connected that organization and streaming platform to Ohio State University and Michigan State University. Ohio State University is going to be using this streaming platform to actually credit students at Ohio State University so they can actually learn streaming from this platform. The reason I'm trying to connect you guys for this because the flyer that I've given you guys in the summer program that I'm partnering with you guys, I tried to use you guys as PCs to stream using the same platform here that I already have Michigan State University and Ohio State University going to be partnering with to utilize, so then students at these colleges will be credited using the same platform here. And so to enrich our community, which is even cooler because they have something called Party Points where you actually, from just streaming and getting on the platform and utilizing the platform, you earn Party Points which can be exchanged for cryptocurrency. This is a free platform and they give you 99% of the revenue is free speech and they give you digital equity. So with this platform that I've already introduced you guys to, that I couldn't use the PCs at Burton School because I couldn't get access to them, we could have educated our students on stream and they could have earned points. Eventually when that token and coin and crypto was launched, they could have exchanged those points that they would be using for cryptocurrency that could be exchanged for actual value. So the next time I come to you guys, hopefully we can get those PCs going and those synergies going, because there's huge things that's developing for our district. Thank you.
Shannon Tanis, followed by Lesvia Marroquin. Shannon Tanis.
Hello, my name is Shannon Tanis, and I realized I didn't really formally introduce myself the last meeting at 5:30. I am a civil rights advocate. I have been vetted and educated in civil rights by the Detroit Director of Fair Housing. I've also been vetted for equal protection under the law of Title 42. I also am doing oversight with Michigan Civil Rights Department in their deficiency, HUD deficiency, MISTA deficiency, the Attorney General deficiency of the state, with many other stakeholders. I have already sent the letter of intent that I gave this body to the Michigan Civil Rights Department and also to the Office of Civil Rights of the Department of Education. I've also sent it to the Deputy Secretary of HUD. Just to give the audience more context, I'm calling for investigation into fraud, waste, and abuse of this body regarding also the 2 public school buildings that you're stating that you own that actually the city of Grand Rapids owns. There is taxation without proper representation going on when these buildings are sitting vacant and you're collecting tax money for them. Not to mention, following this agenda, you guys are all over the place. You're not going in concession of the agenda. And there's items that are not publicly available, which I recognized during your work session in June when you were presenting your financial budget. The transparency just in those little things are very obvious, not to mention you have the equipment to stream these meetings live to give more ADA accommodation. So just to give you a preview of where I'm coming from and what's coming. Thank you.
Lesvia Marroquin, followed by Leticia Ibarra.
She needs a translator too, right?
Who does? Lesvia? Okay. Can we get a translator? Interpreter.
Interpreter.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Lesvia Marroquín y estoy aquí tanto como apoyar a Miss Maher y darle las gracias también por toda su ayuda y su apoyo.
Thank you. My name is Lidia Marroquín. I'm here to support la profesora, ¿cómo se llama?
Miss Maher.
Miss Meyer.
Yo soy un padre desde el año 2000.
Parents from 2000, since 2000.
He visto pasar muchos principals en la escuela Sibley.
I've seen a lot of principals go by Sibley,
pero no ha sido una como ella.
but nothing like her.
Sí, porque ella apoya, ella es una persona linda con todos, no solo con los padres o los niños, sino que también con los maestros.
She supports everybody. She's not only a good person with the students, but with the teachers and everybody.
Ella es muy alegre, ella le da alegría a la escuela cuando da sus Muppets.
So she's very happy. She gives happiness, spreads happiness all over, especially when she does the Muppets.
Sí, ella es una muy persona original. Ella no esconde, ella es como es y gracias por todo y todos la vamos a extrañar mucho.
Very original. She is who she is. We're going to miss her dearly.
Yeah. Gracias.
Thank you.
Leticia Ibarra.
And followed by Elizabeth Burke.
Who's the next person?
Leticia.
Mi nombre es Leticia y soy mamá y soy trabajadora.
My name is Leticia. I am a mother and I'm also a worker. Tranquila, tranquila, tranquila. Tiempo, tranquila.
Yo me siento triste porque mi imagen, desde que yo llegué hace 6 años, ella me recibió como su familia.
I'm very sad because 6 years ago she received me as her family.
Pues yo por ella estoy allí trabajando y pues yo nunca he conocido una persona así con buen corazón.
I'm working there because of her. I've never met a person with such a kind heart.
Y siento que la escuela no va a ser lo mismo sin ella.
I feel that the school is not going to be the same without her.
Aunque tengo el apoyo de las maestras,
And I do have the support of all the teachers,
pero nos va a hacer falta.
but we're going to miss her.
Y espero que la que venga pues sea igual que ella y nos trate igual.
I hope that the new person coming in will be just like her and treated just the same.
Y no tengo palabras.
I have no words.
Les quiero mucho.
I don't feel that.
Elizabeth Burke, followed by Brooklyn Phillips. Elizabeth Burke. Brooklyn Phillips, followed by Sarah Scott.
Don't know how I'm going to follow that up, but okay. Good evening. My name is Brooklyn Phillips, and I'm a proud 5th grade teacher at Sibley Elementary. Our district slogan is GRPS, my choice. In fact, I even appear in a promotional video proudly stating that GRPS is my choice. But I must be honest, recent decisions made by this board and the district administration are making it increasingly difficult to stand by that sentiment. We are losing phenomenal staff throughout the district, and it's not because of our students or our dedicated school-level teams. The challenge lies in the broader culture and climate of the district. I have worked in GRPS for the past 8 years, all of which I have spent under the leadership of Principal Rose Charles Maher at Sibley. In that time, she has guided our school to achieve the second highest achievement growth in the district in both math and reading. That success is not accidental. Yes, our teachers have worked incredibly hard, but none of it would have been possible without the unwavering support of our administrative team, Principal Charles Maher and Assistant Principal Riley Sunday. They consistently put the growth and well-being of our students first and support their staff every step of the way. This past year alone, I watched as Rose and Riley absorbed the most difficult aspect of our work, dealing directly with hostile and threatening parent interactions to shield teachers and allow us to stay focused on instruction. Both leaders endured verbal and physical threats, and yet the district response to these serious incidents was minimal. The lack of support is deeply disheartening. Couple that with the significant salary discrepancies between GRPS and neighboring districts, and it is no surprise that we are now losing these 2 exceptional leaders. While their departure may now be unavoidable, the district still has an opportunity and an obligation to act quickly and ensure that Sibley remains the strong and thriving school it is. We need immediate movement from human resources. The hiring process has been far too slow. The district has known about these vacancies since before the end of the school year, yet the assistant principal position was only posted 2 weeks ago. This kind of delay is unacceptable. Sibley deserves strong, qualified administrative candidates, people who will care for our students the way Rose and Riley have, and who will support teachers the way we've come to depend on. Our students and staff deserve leadership that will protect, uplift, and fight for them. If GRPS is to be truly our choice, then GRPS needs to choose us back. Thank you.
Sarah Scott, followed by Sally Triant.
Hello, my name is Sarah Scott. I work for Kent School Services Network, KSSN for short. My role is Community School Coordinator at Sibley Elementary. I have worked at Sibley for the last 6 years. I'm currently the only non-teaching staff member who speaks Spanish. I am also come here today as a parent to a GRPS student. Sibley is a gem in this district, a proud neighborhood-based community school. We align with the strategic plan and lead the district for our literacy and math proficiency rates, and for the exceptional school culture and belonging. District leadership highlighted us at the leadership convening with all instructional leadership teams in June. Sibley Elementary is a community school. We started as a pilot school for KSSN in 2006. We have had a coordinator ever since. This next school year is our 20th year of implementing this strategy, one that involves the community, schools, teachers, families, and community partners that strengthen and support the real, authentic needs of the school. The community school strategy is working at Sibley, not because of one person, but because of the team that works together. We are willing to have hard conversations with each other as a staff, with families, and our community partners, businesses, nonprofits, and faith-based organizations. Our families and staff and community partners deserve a say in who steps up to continue leading our school, not just through surveys or Zoom meetings, but embedded in the process. It is not only fair, but an equitable practice. In fact, I believe it should be best practice for our district. We do not need to reimagine this. It's already being done here. Take a look at C8 Frost Elementary. Their principal search is being led with community sessions, and school staff and parents are going to be on the interview panel. However, this practice is not being done for all schools needing a new principal. At Sibley, we want an equitable, and inclusive process for selection as well. Our families have just as much educational expertise and deserve to be included. Sibley should have real input in selecting our next leaders. Our feedback isn't optional, it's a vital voice for decision making, and I believe a collaborative process will increase the likelihood of success for Sibley's next leader. Thank you.
Sally Triant, followed by Stephanie Nielsen.
Nielsen.
So my name is Sally Triant, and my business is Grow Wise Learning, and for the past 5 years I've been a contract employee working to ensure equitable access to environmental and outdoor education for every scholar in our district. In 2019, my role was created to serve 2 large grants and their outcomes. For the last 2 years, the district has absorbed the expense of my contract, and this commitment seemed to reflect the growing success of this work that engages a wide coalition of community partners, dedicated teachers and administrators in every quadrant, and thousands of our scholars. I was informed mid-June that my contract that was set to renew on July 1st was ending due to budget constraints. I'm deeply concerned that the work this district has heavily invested in over the last 5 years will now be lost. I don't have time to highlight success, so I want to take a few moments to inform you of the ongoing work I'm asking you to support. The environmental education survey that went out in 2019 was just replicated this last spring, and the findings will need to be measured and reported to determine the direction of this work moving forward. I presented the Green Schoolyard Features Inventory I created at the Children in Nature Network Conference in May. It was recognized there that we are rising to become national leaders in this work. They are actively funding a Nature Everywhere grant right now to support GRPS, the city, and GR Outside in efforts to take learning outside. They're hosting their annual conference in Grand Rapids here next year, and they hold our district up as a model. And our teachers, our schoolyards, and our community partners deserve to be lifted up when they're here next year. Please help make this happen. Crucially, I need you to know that our GRPS Green Team, built of administrators, educators, and scholars throughout the district, have planned to begin a recycling and composting pilot this fall. Our district is not recycling. and could be composting. Schools modeling best practices presented to Philip Green and Alex Smart in March. Vendors have been established and meetings with facilities have been ongoing. Our district needs to serve as good stewards of our community and offer our scholars these basic opportunities for civic engagement. I ask that you please take the time to go on field trips with our scholars, meet our teachers in their schoolyards who are succeeding in using their schoolyards daily as tools for learning.
That's time.
I know, and I've been so proud to hold this torch and do this work as long as I have. I will miss working with each and every one of my teachers. I'm leaving you with a lot of documents. I ask, if nothing else, that you please read the environmental education report I submitted in 2024 and reach out to Jessica Vander Ark, our science curriculum supervisor. Thank you.
Stephanie Nielsen, followed by Scott Bloom.
Good evening, board. My name's Stephanie Nielsen. I teach at Shawmut Hills. The last time I was here to speak, I was presenting to you as Michigan's Region 3 Teacher of the Year for the 23-24 school year. And tonight I'm here because I want to publicly recognize and lift up Sally Triant, whose environmental educator consultant position unfortunately was eliminated. Sally was a key player in my success and ability to represent our district well throughout that year. My platform was place-based education, which was introduced to me through Sally Triant and Jessica Vander Ark's involvement in the district, and Sally provided constant support to me throughout that year. This model of teaching transformed my approach as a neighborhood school educator, as I knew this was the type of learning best that engages scholars best, but wasn't always sure how to do that. Sally's ability to come alongside teachers without judgment to support them as professionals and learners with constant love and passion and empathy for the teaching process was transformative. Sally has been a source of constant inspiration and resources and community partners and knowledge. She's contributed so much to my growth as an educator, and I'm incredibly grateful to have had the opportunity to learn from her. From lesson planning, to data collecting, to curriculum designing, to compost and recycle research, to gardening, I'm a better educator for knowing her. As you consider how to invest in GRPS, I strongly encourage you to invest in more Sallys. Those who work tirelessly for what's best for scholars and teachers who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty literally, who step right alongside teachers and show genuine interest in our scholars, not only as learners, but as humans and our future leaders. Sally's work is so appreciated, and her dedication and commitment to the teachers and families and scholars of GRPS should really be celebrated.
Scott Bloom, followed by Alexandra Stirk.
Hello, my name is Scott Bloom. I'm the executive director at the Other Way Ministries. We're a community development organization on the west side, and we are strong partners of the Sibley Familia, and especially in our youth development work. And I'm here because Ms. Maher asked me to be here, like a lot of us. And I drove an Other Way van and brought some of our parents and neighbors here who couldn't get here otherwise because Ms. Maher asked me to. And I just want you all to know that this is one of the qualities of her. She is a great convener. She is a fierce advocate. She's a good listener. She really believes in community partnerships. At our organization, we strongly value when institutions in the same neighborhood can work together for that community, and we are really going to miss that. And can we just hear it from Ms. Maher really quick? Let's make I want to celebrate her, and I think GRPS, you guys get your due too, right? Because somebody in leadership here saw these qualities in her and gave her this opportunity to make this difference and elevated her, gave her a degree of support. So I just want to encourage this continued effort to be bringing people on board who are strong community partners. And I also want to briefly say, with my 30 seconds that remain, that I really am so glad to see that we are soliciting parent feedback in the selection process of all principals. I know surveys have gone out everywhere. I want to give a soft encouragement to go beyond that, to do some messy community engagement. It can be messy, but it's beautiful. And I know there is this pilot at Frost that does that. I hope that catches fire. I hope that gets to Sibley. I hope that gets to all these different communities. So, and that's the balance of my time. Thank you.
Alexandra Sturk, followed by Lisa Lee.
My name is Alexandra Sturk, and this is the perspective of a teacher going into her 4th year at Sibley Elementary in GRPS. Let me be clear, I am absolutely desperate to leave GRPS. My eyes have been drifting to other district postings since early spring, when I feared what my job would look like if our incredible principal and assistant principal at Sibley might leave. And now that they have, I want to do everything I can to follow. They, along with our amazing staff, are the only reasons I've made it through the last 3 years. They were the glue. Without their leadership and support, I know I wouldn't have lasted. I'm scared. I'm scared of what happens when strong building leadership is replaced by silence, when there's no one to advocate for us at the school level, where teachers have no voice, no protection, and no support. That's what I'm afraid Sibley will become. Meanwhile, during the school year, I work 12-hour days, staying until 8 or even 9 o'clock at night. I spend all day every Sunday planning because we lack resources, adequate prep time, and proper research-based instruction, like signs of reading. That's out the window, I guess. My paycheck has to be stretched over 9 months just to cover a 1-bedroom apartment in Wyoming. I hate that I can't be self-sufficient as a woman and professional in 2025. My husband has a music degree, but not a teaching certificate, and he earns more than I do teaching private lessons while working half the hours I do and doing almost all of our household responsibilities. We couldn't afford a wedding, and now we can't afford to start a family. I'm exhausted, I'm heartbroken, and I'm terrified of returning next year. And I love my students with all my heart. Yet I'm watching this district weaponize our love for students to justify double-digit raises for executives, some over 13%, while classroom teachers, the lowest paid in the county, are offered just 1.5%. We deserve better.
Lisa Lee, followed by Sarah Rosema.
Hi, Lisa Lee. I am an ECSE teacher at Buchanan Elementary, and I just wanted to continue to give voice to these students in our district who don't often get this voice, right? We have 7 ECSE classrooms, which could be up to 168 students in self-contained. This doesn't include our severe speech and language impairment programs for early childhood and children who are in GSRP preschools under 1755 funding, who have IEPs and services within the building. I am advocating support and funding for ECSE classrooms. I was watching and attending a conference about early childhood autistic learners today. And early childhood autistic learners play, learn, processing sensory input, move their bodies, communicate, relate to the world, reach developmentally milestones differently, right? Different is not less, and different is not deficient. At this point, ECSE classrooms need the support and funding. GSRP is a grant-based program and receives robust funding and support. In my role as an ECSE, I received 6 sippy cups for my classroom. That's it. Everything else came from my own pocket, which is thousands of dollars. Autistic learners also have deep interests a lot. 75 to 95% of them do. And that's the way they learn and engage. Every kid is different. They need stuff. They need their things. For example, one of my kiddos had a deep interest in fruits and vegetables. He'd come off the bus every day with real or fake play. emotional support vegetables, ears of corn, tomatoes, poblano peppers. This is the way I got him. So I would be buying him food, fresh grapes every day. And there's no line budget for these classrooms for supplies. So I'm just asking you to consider putting some more into this stuff. I know I have time, giving me some money. I know how it's spent, but we have a real disappropriation of fundings for GSRP
That's
because
time.
it's grant-based and ECSE. Yay!
Sarah Rosema, followed by Tammy Bosco.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Rosema, and for nearly 2 decades, Sibley has been my home and my family. Sibley had an outstanding administrative team. Rose brought experience, passion, and unwavering drive. Riley contributed creativity, organization, and follow-through. Together, with the support of our incredible staff, they helped make Sibley the thriving school it is today. They trusted their staff to make decisions that were best supporting of their students, even if that meant going against the GRPS norm. These women were truly golden. Now, this leadership is being torn away. Both have resigned and are moving on to districts that will hopefully treat them with the respect and professionalism that they deserve. Then there's my hardworking friend Rachel. She stood here and told you bravely that she can't even afford to live. This is not okay. Rachel is not the only one in this district having to work 2 or 3 jobs just to get by. Teaching is a full-time job. It demands mental, emotional, and physical energy. Yet somehow, those furthest removed from the classrooms are earning 6-figure salaries, while the educators and support staff on the front lines are barely scraping by. Sheena, Lori, Maddie, and Maddie are 4 amazing ASD teachers in our building. They are passionate, tireless advocates for their students, but they are constantly understaffed and under-resourced. They cannot safely and effectively do their jobs without that proper support. These students require, as she said, specialized instruction, personal care, toileting, and behavior management. That takes trained and consistent staffing, not just substitutes, not just bodies. Maybe ask those departments what they actually need instead of just assuming you know what they need. Lastly, there's my friend Bernice, who just retired with the district after 37 years. She held both a master's and a specialist degree. Her test scores were consistently among the highest. She was a lead mentor and changed the lives of hundreds of students, families, and staff. Yet, despite her legacy, she never earned close to what those at Franklin campus make. Please show us you care. Please pay us a living wage. Allocate your resources equitably. Please, please, please.
Tammy Bosco, followed by Rosalind Charles Mahar.
Hello, my name is Tammy Bosco. I'm here as a volunteer through Keystone Community Church, which has been a community partner of Sibley School for 25 years. Myself, I spend 15 to 20 hours at Sibley, along with my partner in the back. And this past year, we've had 27 Keystone volunteers for a total of 65 hours a week. This summer, we are supporting a 1st grade classroom at Harrison Park. For the past 8 years, I've watched Rose Maher, Riley Sunday, and Sarah Scott, the KSS coordinator, build trust with the staff, students, and their families, and provide a sense of belonging for all of us. The loss of Miss Maher and Miss Sunday is heartbreaking for the Sibley Familia and the whole community, and for Keystone Community Church. I think everybody's brought up the reasons that people are leaving GRPS, and I know MLive had an article last week that showed that the GRPS teachers are the lowest paid, and I find that really unacceptable. As a committed volunteer with a long-standing community partner, Keystone, I urge you to include staff, families, and community partners in choosing the next principal for Sibley School. Sibley needs to maintain the growth and the stability that it's had for the past 8+ years, and it falls squarely on your shoulders. And please do the right thing for the children. Thank you.
Rosalind Charles Mayer, followed by Melissa Reddy.
All right, good evening. At 51 years old, I have spent half my life with this district. I believe I have earned my time to speak. I have tried to get on the agenda twice this year and was told unless it was a celebration, my voice must be through public comment. So I come to you this evening for two things: to explain my exit and why the district should commit to Sibley Elementary by finding a leader. Simply put, GRPS did not offer a competitive wage and a retirement for someone like me. Furthermore, what was difficult to understand is the salary schedules that were just released, along with the narrative regarding experience steps. To see that someone was on leave and elevated at least 3 steps in experience in 2 years was unclear to me. I have asked 2 different times within the last 5 years for a review of my salary based on 18 years of teaching experience. Twice I was told, no, your teaching experience is not part of that principal steps. Dr. Roby, I sent a vulnerable email to you regarding my finances and asked for a position in the summer school program 2 years ago, as it is almost impossible for me to get a teaching position because I am not GREA. Those positions are first filled with them. I would have finished my career in this district had I been awarded a wage where 3 of my highest paid school years would have given me a livable retirement. As for Sibley, I leave a building whose trajectory continues to disrupt. In 2019, our PD launch began with a collection of interviews I gathered from previous students from Ottawa, Central, and Union. Those interviews paralleled the research from the opportunity myth. Maybe you have heard of it. It's a 2018 study that proved that Black and brown students nationwide were not given access to grade level material in their high school coursework, and thus they were not college and career ready. When looking at our own data from 23-24, and it's public, it's my school data, families, you can look this up. In the non-theme high school here in GRPS, of the juniors tested, only 21% were proficient in ELA. And of juniors
Rosalind,
tested in
that's
math,
time. It's time.
No, please let me speak. 5%. Over the past 2 years, Sibley Elementary has led the district in the fall to spring growth in both reading and math. When we were recognized in the school news network for that achievement, I celebrated publicly in a Facebook Live, because that's what leaders do when their students and staff work hard and succeed. Yet, instead of encouragement, I received an email, not from you, Dr. Roby, from someone in the district telling me that my excitement was wrong and premature. But isn't that what we want? Don't you want a school that disrupts inequities, accelerates growth, and proving what's
Rosalind,
possible?
That's time.
Why don't you see Sibley? Dr. Watson saw our achievement, and for that I am grateful to her and Matthew Kendall, 2 people who truly saw the tireless work of our
Time.
staff. My ask of you is this: make sure the next principal understands that you've built here. Honor the solid foundation and familia energy that lifts this school. And to the board and district leadership, take down the billboard that shouts achievement until you are willing to match it with action. Pay your hardest working people a livable wage and show humility. Thank you.
Melissa, ready?
Can I go after someone else, please?
You are the last.
I'm just
public.
teasing. Sorry. Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Davis, and members of the board. My name is Melissa Reddy, and I am a proud Sibley parent. I would like to take a moment to thank you for sending out the community input survey. for parents and caregivers. I appreciate families being able to help inform the interview process. The clearest memory I have from the elementary school I attended was a banner that said, "It takes a village." I don't think I've ever seen a truer example of this in work than you can see at Sibley. The loss of both Miss Maher and Miss Sunday is tremendous, but they alone are not what makes Sibley great. It's the community. The teachers and staff, the community partners and volunteers, and the families and scholars are what makes us great. It's the shared goals of everyone coming together to work and care for another, the Sibley Familia. Of course, our teachers are excellent, but it's way more than that. There's staff at the door welcoming scholars by name. There's parents who give their time to benefit their children's classrooms and the whole school. There's volunteers to tutor scholars, not just because some may be behind, but because others are also ahead, so scholars can have materials at their level. There's community partners to enrich the lives of the scholars and the families. As a Sibley parent, I hope that our next principal and assistant principal have some or all of the following qualities: bilingual, comfortable with the community school model, and have a can-do attitude. While there are days that are flat out busy and hard, those aren't the currents that run through Sibley, even on the bad days. Sibley's vibe is support. Staff supporting each other, community partners supporting the staff, everyone supporting the scholars. I'm here today to request that the Sibley Familia walk with GRPS in the interview journey to find a new principal and assistant principal. Our familia is strong, wise, and dedicated. Thank you.
I just want to clarify that I recognize that, Rose, that you are important to this community, and it's not that I call time because I don't want to hear your voice. I want to give it an equitable, for everybody should have the same amount of time, an equal amount of time. We can't preference certain people. I understand that you want to hear her. That doesn't necessarily have to take place at our meeting. We are trying to conduct a meeting, and we have policy in regards to public comment. Thank you. This is not a conversation. Thank you.
You work for our community. You don't understand that. Like, I'm gonna have to homeschool myself.
Thank you. We are not engaging in a conversation right now.
So we can ask questions?
Not during not during our meeting. A public meeting. We don't engage in conversation. Moving on. You can move out into the hall and have that conversation. Moving on to superintendent's comments.
I don't have any additional comments.
Okay. Board member comments. Do you have the order? We're going to have board member comments first, and then we'll move in. Trustee Moreno.
As Trustee Rodriguez shared, we got to attend a conference last week. Oh man, I'm so bad at this. Attend a conference last week, and I'm really excited to share during our next time together. I do think it aligns with some of the goals I wanted to share during the retreat space that I wasn't able to attend. So yeah, I'm excited for that conversation. I think one of my biggest takeaways, I'm still processing a lot of different things, but we got to hear from one of the candidates in the mayoral race in New York, and that was really inspiring. I went to my room and honestly cried, had a little tear, just kind of appreciating the solidarity conversation that he had shared in his presentation to us. And it just makes me think of, making some of those like bold choices for ourselves. What does that look like in this kind of political era where maybe we might not always agree, but we have to kind of step into something that we might not be comfortable with, but need to kind of lean into those hard moments. So I'm really grateful. And I know gals already left, but I'm just appreciative of the 3 Latina women who were here, especially speaking another language, coming in front of us. I really am grateful for those stories.
Trustee Melton?
No comment.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Ditto to everything Trustee Moreno said. I just appreciate us being able to have robust discussion around a lot of things that, are concerns for our community. And I just want to say that I appreciate everyone being open and honest to, what our beliefs are on that, and being respectful of folks who may be stand in opposition. But as Trustee Moreno said, and it was Brad Lander, I'll name him, shout out Brad Lander, New York City Comptroller. But I do agree with that sentiment that sometimes progress takes folks being humble enough to say, this isn't my race to win, but I'm going to support someone else who's putting in just as much work, if not more work. And I think we have to just continue to uplift each other in this political realm that we find ourselves in, because, honestly, sometimes I just think of the future looking so bleak that I think, man, we have no one but each other, so that's how we have to move forward.
Trustee Wade?
I want to uplift the scholars that were here earlier and congratulate them on a debate season that was very successful. I want to give a shout out to our scholar Kyler, who went to play math hoops on behalf of the Detroit Pistons through the STEM Greenhouse. He went to New York and he finished in 3rd place, which is really dope. And shout out to STEM Greenhouse for all the amazing work that they do. I saw some of their youth in the crowd today. And thank you for everyone who came and had such vulnerable comments. And I appreciate public comment so much. It is a very hard thing to do. It's hard to get up there. It's hard to sit up here a lot of times and even be vulnerable in front of audience. So I appreciate everyone that comes out, and I enjoy the support for our principal who is leaving the district, and I hope the best for Sibley. Thank you.
Trustee Williamson?
As we're aware, we don't yet have a state education budget, so it's something that we are aware of because we're in the space, but I don't think generally the public's aware of. So I just want to highlight that, and also highlight that our delegation in Lansing, I think, is being firm advocates for GRPS and public education in general, but just recognizing there are people there that do not want to fund public education, and that's a real threat. And I think whatever we can do in our capacity as board members, and also the community in your capacity as citizens, to advocate and support those folks in Lansing who are defending public education, but also call the folks that don't seem to care about it and want to get rid of our funding to do other things. And that's going to hurt our kids, and it's going to hurt educators. So I just want to uplift that for everybody's awareness, that this is probably the most important thing going on in the state right now. It's going to affect every child across the state, and our kids here in the district. So just want to highlight that for everyone.
Trustee Davis?
I don't have anything to say that hasn't been said. Thank you.
Trustee Kilpatrick?
I don't know. I'm sitting here in a human body feeling lots of feelings at the moment, and I just want to express with gratitude the heart that enters this space and what is shared here. I do feel charged to act on behalf of the voices we've heard tonight. And I guess I'm also just curious around how this feeling, this energy, can be better communicated with. And I feel that is a district responsibility. So that's where I'm sitting as we step into closed session.
And I have no further comment. So we will move into our close, well, we need